It's time to gather together. Hi there, I'm Yelta, and I'll be back in the first round while we chat about Final Fantasy XIV. This is episode 155. Pull up a chair and join us. On the menu tonight, announcing the Flowers for All screenshot contest, Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers pre-order bonus items now available, Letter from the Producer Part 50 at Tokyo Fan Festival, the NAEU Data Center expansion. New optional items are available. Little Ladies' Day festivities begin February 28th. Final Fantasy XIV boss talks about how Blue Mage experiment went over and the future of the game. And Final Fantasy XIV's director talks Blue Mage's world visits and modern MMOs. Yoshi-P comments on Baldesion Arsenal feedback alongside today's hot fix. This is a Gamer Escape article. Nengenki Online interview with lead designer Takeo Suzuki. That's a Reddit translation. We have some developers blog, and we have the winners to our Show Us Your Bunny Boy contest. But first, let's shoot the shit. What's been going on this week? Well, the last 2 weeks. Hey, Ruby.
Hey, Yelta. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Well, it's not you that's back. It's
You're
me
back.
that's back.
I've been here. I never went nowhere. Well, actually, I did.
Yeah, well, you went places, and I know you're going to talk about that, and that was awesome, what you got to do. I took a trip with the fam to Massachusetts to visit my extended family and parts of my own immediate family. So we had a blast. We took the Bean Boy up there. So those of you who've been following us and follow me know my son just turned 1 year old a couple weeks ago, so we took Alexander to Massachusetts to visit the family. It was all good. We ate a bunch of seafood. We got to play in the snow. We got to see some good friends. What's up, Excalibur? We ate hot pot with our good friend, the puppet master extraordinaire from Final Fantasy XI, Excalibur. So what's up, my dude? And it was a really good hot pot place we went to. It's called Q. So if you're ever in the Boston area and you get to Chinatown, there's a restaurant called Q, and it is freaking amazing. So check that out. We do not get royalties from that. I wish we would. That'd be cool. Anyway, had a really, really good time. But of course, couldn't play any 14 while I was up there. And we couldn't podcast last week, so we're kind of putting it all into this episode, but that was good. And then another personal thing, if you've been following me, I know a lot of you have talked to me about like job stuff that I've been working on. Well, I did get a new job recently. I start that job here in the next few weeks. I'm hoping that frees up a little more time for me. Maybe not right at the get-go because I got to show my shit. You know, I gotta show out a little bit so they don't fire me. But I'm hoping it gives me a little extra free time to put more time into the podcast and play a little more Final Fantasy XIV like the good old days. So that's a plus. It's a win-win for my family. So this is all good things, all positive things moving forward. So I'm very happy. And speaking of other positive things in that realm, even though we don't really have that in the notes here, I think we're in talks with Mugo Go Round. We'll be doing some stuff with them in the near future. I've been talking to Brian at Work to Game for some upcoming stuff. So we're going to have some more stuff in the GTFFXIV horizon. So thank you guys very much for sticking with us because we've got a lot of good coming. And one other thing that I wanted to share, and this is one of those like shower thoughts that I have. You know, I was thinking about my job and different prospects and getting more time to the podcast. And I was thinking, you know, there are times in our life like we want to put effort towards something, but we don't feel like we have the time. And then there's times that we know that there's things that we need to do and we don't put that time and effort towards them, and it creates anxiety, and then it's a vicious cycle because then anxiety makes us not want to do anything, and then by not doing anything it creates more anxiety and blah. And I was thinking about Savage raiding recently because Senna and I have not Savage raided since the birth of our son, and of course we spend a lot of time with Alexander, and that's important. It should be important, right? But you know, there were other things after he was born that, you know, I worked on myself personally in some aspects of life, and I feel like it led me to a place where I was able to move forward with some aspects of my life that I had been holding back. And I'm not blaming that on Savage Rating. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming that on any video game. What I'm saying is there are things in life sometimes that we put off because we find other things to distract us from reality. And, I focused on reality a bit, and I feel successful now. I feel like I've moved to a different place that should give me more free time so I can enjoy my hobbies more. And anyway, all I'm trying to say is I'm glad you're part of this journey with me and with Yelta, and we hope to bring more stuff to you. So that being said, let's talk about the game. Shit I did in this freaking video game that we call Final Fantasy XIV. I did the 24-man raid. I did all of them. So we got back like really late Saturday. Yelta sent a blizzard to Massachusetts.
It up just for you.
Thanks, Shiva. And we ended up getting on our flight 2 hours late coming back. So long story short, we got back really late on Saturday. And I really had a short amount of time to play before reset, which is today. We usually record on Tuesdays. And so I managed to squeeze in all 3 24-man raids and a couple of experts. I got really close to capping, but I was able to upgrade some gear. And again, Rubicon has been really slow on the uptake at the end of Stormblood here. But I finally hit 390 on Summoner on my main. Terrible, I know, but I'm finally kind of getting up there. So I've got 3 pieces upgraded: the body, legs, and feet, because I wanted that sweet crit. And I'm able to beat the dummy for the final Savage deal, at 12, I guess. So that's nice. I did that this weekend. I didn't get any drops. No, I did. I think I got something for healer. I might have got some healer shoes or something like that. So I also upgraded my healer gear. I was working on that a little bit. I bought some green pieces and traded those in for the 390 slot so I could get into I broke into I think like 385 or 386, maybe even 388 on healer. And I thought, well, fuck it, I'm gonna goof with Astrologian. I'm gonna play that Sweet Dancer when it's finally announced, but I wanted to do something unconfirmed. I wanted to do something different than White Mage. Yelta, you play a lot of White Mage, and I don't envy you for it. I used to play a ton of White Mage, but if you and I ever did anything again in the future, nobody's going to take double White Mage. And I was like, you know what? I'm a fuck.
Yeah, somebody's got
to do something different. So I thought, I'm going to fuck around with Astrologian a little bit. Let me see what I can do. I have played it before. All my healers are 70. Let's see if Ruby remembers how to Astrologian. And I did a pretty good job. I did a couple of experts, I think maybe 3 experts on it just to wet my whistle. And I did the first 2 24-man raids, the easy ones, Ripperana and the other one. And they did not go bad. In fact, I carried the other healer in one of them. I think I think in one of the 2, the other healer, who was a White Mage. It's the first fight of the second one, the one with the water dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he's if you don't understand how that jar works, he's an asshole. And I finally learned, but this other guy didn't, and he died like 7 times on that fight. I kid you not. And he said, like, after the 4th one, I fucking hate this fight. He typed it in the chat. The only thing I'm not good at, because I haven't played a lot of healer in Stormblood, is rescue. I'm just, like, I'm going to have to move where that's at on my bar because I'm not Johnny on the spot. And I could have probably rescued him, but I have it off of a hotkey. I have it, like, on this top bar that's not hotkeyed. And I'm like, do I take off my cleric stance and move it around so I can rescue? And the answer is probably yes, but I still like cleric stance because I want to do a little bit extra. I'm not respecting the content. I'm sorry. I DPS as a healer. Great community, by the way. I'm not respecting this content. And I'm DPSing as a healer, and it's terrible. But it's like, do I want to rescue people, or do I want to do some damage? And the answer should be, put the balance on yourself and do damage, right? So I did that a couple of times. The arrow, usually. Nobody wants the fucking arrow, right? Samurais are like, I want the arrow. Black mages are like, I'll take arrow. Anyway, it was fun to do Astrologian. By the end of it, I think by that and the end of the 224-man raids, I'm like, okay, I think I remember how to do this enough that nobody's bitching at me. I had a tank tell me I did a really great job in one of them, and
Nice.
so I mean that made me feel good because I haven't healed in forever, so that's cool. I just got to work on that eye level, that gear score, right? So. Anyway, I did Little Ladies' Day. That was fun. It was cute. There was a couple tearjerker ones, a little heartwarming. And that's in the main story, but then there's also 7 cutscenes. Thank you, Yelta. I had stopped at 5, and then I thought, I haven't seen the Sultana yet. Mm-hmm. And I went back and did that. And then the last one I got, no spoilers, but the last one of the 7 was the one that you saw the 2 little buddies on the mat that are kind of in the corner. Looking out. You know which one I'm talking about? Biggs and Wedge show up, and then there's...
Yeah, okay. I have to just pause right there because my husband has now done it 80 times. 80 times. And he has not once seen that one. But he also... It would have been a spoiler because he hasn't done this other content yet. 80 times.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that doesn't proc because he hasn't done the other content.
Well, and I kind of expected it to proc, but because you've seen it, right?
Yeah.
They could just cut out that whole last little section and it would be fine, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, apparently he doesn't get it at all because he says he might go to 100, and I'm like, Christ, honey, it'd be faster to run you through all of normal mode Alexander. Or not Alexander. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So spoiler free, but not really, because I think most people have done it, is that there's a little clip of Omega type stuff that happens at the end of the Biggs and Wedge cutscene. And I'm guessing if you haven't done Omega, you may not see those 2 little dudes staring off to the side. So interesting take. Now, when I did the first 5, there were 5 different ones back to back.
Oh wow!
And then I got Yellow Moon again, and then I got a different one of the other ones again, and I'm like, let me take a break. And that's when I tweeted out, how many of these are there so I can finish it up? I also want to say in Gridania, because we had one of these last year or something
Easter
similar.
Baskets, yeah.
The Easter baskets. There were probably 7 of those as well. And I really like the way they do this because you get a little bit of lore and some interaction with NPCs that don't normally interact with each other.
There's crushes I forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that, the Lalafell has a crush on Tataru.
Mm-hmm.
There's things I forgot about.
Yep. So I'm waiting for Rule 34 on that.
It's already out there, probably.
That's our next contest.
Oh my god!
Rule 34, Lalafell. No, please don't.
Wait till we'll start the lewd channel.
Yeah, exactly. I discovered a lewd channel. I was on. There was some news about one of these game developers doing a AMA on 8chan, CP old 8chan. And it blew up big, and so there was a lot of buzz around that. And so I went to 8chan, and I scrolled down, and there is a lewd XIV channel on 8chan, and it's full of lewds and nudes and anything that you can imagine. A lot of those mods that Yoshida doesn't like.
Oh my!
Oh yeah! Oh my! So anyway. If you want your Vieira males, I'm sure there's a mod for it whenever Vieira comes out. Okay, anyway, I digress from that topic. And then last thing, I finally pre-ordered Shadowbringers. I got paid, and I took care of that. So I've got my Aetheride Earrings. I've got my little minion, the gremlin, and I did it for Senna and I. I went for the collector's edition. Senna didn't really care for the collector. She's like, what do I need Squall's Gunblade and a mount that I think is ugly for? And I'm like, hey, it's your choice, whatever.
That's a legit, because I don't really like either of those either.
And there's one other thing. What is it, a minion or something? I don't remember what the other thing is, but it's...
the minion was part of their pre-order, wasn't it?
There's one other item that comes with it, and it wasn't enough.
Well, it wasn't anything to steer her
No,
I
it
like the
wasn't
digital
enough.
stuff. I don't care as much about the physical stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought the chicken knife was cuter even though I don't have like a chicken knife glamour set or anything going for my red mage. I do think I used it one time.
I tried it on and I was like, yep, that's cute. Bye.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I can see her not doing the collector's edition. I can see anybody not doing the collector's edition.
Oh, it's a wind-up Fran minion.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's
Big
not
whoop.
gonna do it for her. Okay.
Not enough. Just not enough. She does love Final Fantasy 12 though. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm, well, the only other thing I'm thinking of, I'm just drawing at straws here. I was looking at a buddy of ours, Yurt. I think a lot of people know Yurt on Twitter. He was tweeting out the old job video for Stormblood, and that was released May 22nd, and he was talking about how hype was it when we saw Paladin with the wings and all that, the different abilities,
yeah.
And it just made me think, hey, we will probably get a similar video sometime in May, after we get through Tokyo Fan Fest and they show us Dancer, and then everybody's disappointed that there's only 2 new jobs, and then they show us the not male Vieira, and everybody gets over that salt. They're gonna have to have a job video, and it'll probably be May, because they did talk about there's going to be a time that we get the job changes, and I do think they said sometime around May. So I'm looking forward to that too. We'll get that job video. There's still a lot of hype to be had, and as we get closer to the end of March, we're getting closer to Tokyo Fan Fest, and we're going to get closer to the next patch, which will have more story in it. And then we're going to get into what would be the Vast Wasteland. So we'll see. I guess this time we do have a little more it's not necessarily the diadem. People are still enjoying Baldesion Arsenal, but we'll have some things to say about that as well today. So there you go. So Yelta, what did you do this past week?
I did more mount farming. I'm still trying to get all my doggos. I feel like I usually farm dogs faster than this, but I also usually have but I also usually usually you and Cinna are mount farming, and usually Kohedi is mount farming, but usually there's more of us online who are mount farming and have that in, who want to do it. I've been doing all of this in pugs. So actually, instead of judging myself on getting my mounts really slowly, I should really be patting myself on the back for making myself go join pugs, because that's not easy for me. I don't. I used to just basically refuse to do content unless I got my full party is my people, but anyway, I did get the legendary the fife, so that's Shinryu's.
Congrats.
That was good. And I think I went into a Snake Boy party, but they couldn't even clear it. So I just gave up on that. But
I should have joined that, because I haven't cleared it yet.
Well, there was enough of it to remember how the fight goes. But the one I'm really scared of is Suzaku, because I suck at Simon Says. I can even know where to be, and I can get there, and I'm still dead. So I'm just gonna have to suck it up one of these days and go, but get the best gear I can, because even now I can take hits, and I think that used to kill me. So eat good food and take some good gear. But maybe I'll get a party that won't lose their fucking mind if I get blown up. But I did get that doggo. I think I just have 2 more then, and then I can get my final mount. So yay, I'm excited. I want to do that. That's a goal I have. But I was also been working. I've been back in Pagos, not Pyros, not Hydros.
What brought you back to hell?
Because I finished my White Mage weapon without stats. So then I decided I'm not going to use it for best in slot anyway, so I'm going to work on my Black Mage weapon. And that one was stuck on light farming in Pagos, so I have to light farm in Pagos.
So help a noob out. When you finish a weapon and you say you finish it without stats, what do you mean? Like you can keep re-rolling until you're happy with it? Are you actually done?
I haven't done it. Right now I have a weapon that just has 2 stats. It has no substats.
Uh-huh.
Or I think it has... Yeah, it has no substats at all.
But
So
you're considered complete at that point.
I think I'm done. The story's done. That weapon is considered done. You actually have to go back to Pagos, I think, and I've never rolled stats, so I've never done it. But it's my understanding there's like 5 lines, and you know, farm a bunch, and then you like blow your wad on lines, and then you don't get the substats you want anyway, and I don't know. I don't really know how it works. I may, and if I get bored enough, I might go back and try to put some stats on the White Mage weapon, but I got the glamour, dyed it purple. I think I'm good. But now I'm thinking maybe I want the Black Mage one too. So that's, I think I can handle doing that. And there's still some stuff I don't have. There's still mounts I don't have. There's still minions I don't have. Oh, I just got one of the minions too. One of the little Lalafels or something. I can't remember. And
Did you sell it?
No, hell no.
Oh, okay.
What do I need Gil for? I mean,
Oh, that's right. Gil's worthless.
There's nothing to spend it on. I mean, I could spend it on the mounts and stuff I don't have, but there's emotes I don't have. I think is there a hairstyle in there? I can't remember. There's other stuff in there, which reminds me, there's other stuff in Heaven on High I don't have. I could go get, but so there's still stuff to do. But yeah, but I keep joining these light parties, and whether or not they're like Forge parties or Dragon parties or whatever, I'll join a Forge party. I'll run all the way there, and just as I arrive, someone's like, "I've got 20 minutes." I'm like, "Okay." So we fight for a while, and he leaves, and we get a replacement. We can't even finish full 30 chains because people are leaving, and it's like, oh my god! If it's a farm, you have to. These people don't. You have to like be like If I'm going to farm, that means I am expecting to stay for 2 hours. Instant
gratification, Yelta.
I don't know.
It has to come to me immediately or I'm out.
They're just like, nope, bye. And then there was somebody didn't know about, the Forge. Somebody was like willing to just give up. The Forge location's taken. I guess we don't get to get any light. And it's like, no.
What did you do, dragons?
Dragons. I mean, yeah. It's not, and none of this is like super duper intriguing or enjoyable, but honestly, usually you can have some time and chat or whatever, but I don't know. It's just kind of irritating when you get a party and you can't like even get the people to commit to, of course it's like anything else. Mount farms, join that, clear once and they disband. What?
Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't get their mount, so it was unsuccessful.
Oh, man. So anyway, last night I did lots of, we didn't even do lots of, we did like 7 treasure maps, but the first one was somebody wasn't even they weren't level 70 yet, so they couldn't come for the other maps, but they had a dragon skin on them. So it was just with Brock and Kara and a bunch of the cross-world link shell baked chocobo nights across Link Shell, and we hopped in there. We went in this person's first map ever, dragon skin map. Popped a portal. We hop in, and we went all the way to the end.
That's awesome.
Just all the way, and like almost every door opened instantly. We had one like disco floor. That was it. It was just like straight to the end. So that was fun for them. And I think somebody else in the group hadn't really done maps much either, because then we went on. That person had to drop because they didn't have any 70 jobs. But we did some Gazelle skin maps, and we fought a bunch of stuff. We got lots of we got all the way to the final invocation on the was that one Hidden Canals? Is it? So we got all the way through that. I still haven't seen the silver one. I haven't seen the elephant yet. I don't know how many times I've done maps, but I never get to see that. We did not make it all the way to the bottom on any of the other maps. But we had already, basically the first 2 maps we popped were just like, we went all the way. So, and one of the persons was new, and it was kind of funny because we went all the way to the final invocation, so they hadn't even seen Atmos yet and getting kicked out. So we did get to see that later. But, people were like, we've got, like, gold whiskers falling from the sky and the little fish guys, and we're, like, killing all the extra stuff. And we did fail on the Mandragoras. Too many people were new, and actually we were a small party to begin with. So we did not get all the Mandragoras down, and they escaped. Aww. But, can't have everything, I guess. But, no, it was fun, and people were just like, wow, so much gil. Because, like, every time you, like, kill something, you get gil. And I'm like, yeah, see? I don't even know. I don't think I got any big ticket items for selling. But I did make quite a bit of gil. Just natively, like, 500,000. Just by being there. So, treasure maps are fun. And they're very fun to go with the link shell. Because we were all sitting in chat and just having fun and hanging out. I also did the seasonal event. I kept records, Ruby. I did it 16 times before I saw all the endings.
Okay.
And I got the first two were the same, and then I saw a different one, and then I saw a different one, and then I saw a repeat of that different one, and then I saw a repeat, and then I saw a new one, then I saw a new one, I saw a repeat, new one, repeat, and then finally the last one. So I only had to do it, I think I wrote them all down when I did them.
Which one was your last one? Do you remember?
Songbirds. And do you know how I didn't Google or anything, so I'm not even 100% sure the 7 is all of them. But do you know how I guessed and kept running it was the quest when it pops up as a picture of everybody. All the people you meet in that little instance are all in that picture, I think.
I never looked.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's, I'm like, oh, Serendipity's in this picture. She must be one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who'd you pick? Who's your favorite songbird?
Oh, I don't remember now. I think the Aura.
I picked Ulala because I never pick her. I think the first year I picked, what's-her-face's sister, the blue one. And then the last songbirds thing, I picked the yellow one. So I was like, oh, I'll pick the red one this time. Of course, she's a bitch, but,
She's kind of a narcissistic bitch, isn't she?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, and then since we did receive a tiny kitten's distracting me because he's biting my leg. Oh man. Okay, so what did I do then? Oh, so we did get our Aetheride Earrings. If you pre-ordered, you've already received those.
Yep.
So those are really cool. Did you get yours?
Yes.
Have you popped them on a job yet and seen what they do?
I have jobs to level, but no, I was doing Astrologian instead. I know you were leveling jobs.
Yeah, I leveled Samurai a little bit. I still don't know what all my buttons do, but
neither do most samurais. So
apparently,
don't worry about it.
I can figure out the combinations to get the 3 little things to light up, and then I can do the thing when and I know which buttons are AOE's. So I'm mostly
stack skill speed. That's all I know.
I'm only like level 54 or something. But, so I love Samurai. The earring's cool. The earring actually gets, like, stats on it, and they're adjusted based on your level.
I did equip it to see what the stats looked like, and it gives you the primary and the secondary stat.
Yeah, well, I thought that was really nice. I'm actually pretty excited by that. I don't know how... I wouldn't want every piece of gear to do that, because I do like getting new gear and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense for every piece of gear to do that.
But I could see, like, if one piece of gear every expansion did that, or, maybe another expansion, they give us, like, a reusable platter of food or something. I don't know.
And I like it for the accessories, because there's only shit accessories out there. I mean, my last job when I was leveling blue, and maybe even prior to that, whatever I was leveling, it's like the weathered gear, unless you want to go buy accessories, and then you kind of hit a threshold where you're starting to pick up accessories from some of the upper level dungeons. But it's like, it seems like accessories are the ones that you have a hard time. I can drop poetics on a bunch of stuff, but accessories tend to be the ones that, like, for me personally. Mm-hmm.
Well, and especially early on, accessories lag behind. Yeah. What was our first, was it, we have an Aetheride ring. And then that's only 30 below. And then we have some headpieces, but those are like 25 or something and below. Then we've got the Alamegan earrings, but those are only
Well, they're trash now.
Yeah, because are they only 50 and below?
Up to 50. I've already seen the memes where you just throw them in the garbage because it's just ridiculous. Also, there's a bug. They may have patched it by now, but the Aetheride Earrings can be discarded, so be very careful with
Christ.
that.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, those are in my armory chest right now, and they're equipped on my 4 melee DPS classes. So watch out, you may be seeing me in a dungeon near you, probably performing abysmally, but I really want to get everything to 70. So, well, and then I was inspired. We did a PvP day a couple weeks ago or more on a Monday, and I actually have gone in and done a couple of PvP daily roulettes just for lulz. There's stuff I want, and so far I haven't hated it, but you know, since you're doing the roulette, it fills reasonably quickly because there's only one it's trying to pick. So, all right. And then in the real world, I put on pants, and I brushed my hair, and I went and met humans in the real world. So, past Friday, I met up with Klaus from Phoenix Down Radio and a few other lovely people met before. And we went to the Rock Bottom Brewery and had us a nice dinner. This is in Minneapolis. And then we walked across the street to the Distant Worlds concert. And that was, as always, really, really good. And then good thing, too, that Ulf had thought ahead and gotten a hotel room. Usually if it's in Minneapolis, we just drive home. He had gotten a hotel room. So that was good because the weather was awful. The streets were covered in snow, and it was a slushy mess, and it was awful. But I had a super good time seeing everybody. Oh, and then the next day we actually met up again, all of us, and went to lunch. So it was a fantastic time. Now, the Distant Worlds concert was really good, but you know, this time no Susan. There were no answers. They did play a Heavensward compilation, or what do they call that when you have lots of bits from different songs? But
like an arrangement, or
medley.
I don't know.
Yeah, and they did do a Heavensward medley, and that was really, really cool. That was fun. Klaus had never been to. This is my 3rd Distant Worlds concert, so I had been there, done that kind of thing, but it's still amazing, even if you've done it a few times. He had never before seen it, so at intermission and then afterwards, he was like, wow. And it always seems too short, right? Because there's so much music, though. There's so much Final Fantasy music, and they only have so long to play for you that night. You can't see, can't hear it all. And then, of course, they got the big screen up, so, like, and I know a lot of Final Fantasy music, and I've played a bit of every Final Fantasy game, I think. But I don't necessarily remember. I mean, we're talking 30 years of Final Fantasy. Right. So I can't always remember. I know that song, but I can't always remember whose
I know them
theme
all,
it is.
Yelta.
I know you do, but
come on.
I have other stuff in my brain.
She just called me dumb, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here.
No, I was going to say I have like useless Doctor Who facts probably filling that section of my brain.
That's good, though.
It's not bad. But, so it's kind of nice, like, they'll play, like, somebody's theme, and then they'll actually show the character in some cutscenes or some gameplay video or whatever. And it always tickles me when they play.
Oh, that's Rydia.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, I'm like, I remember that. And it just always makes me want to go back and play my catalog of Final Fantasy games. But I can't, because I'm playing Nier right now and crying my fucking eyes out.
Oh, God. I got to get started on that.
You need to... oh, my God. And it doesn't take very long to get into the very beginning of the game. It took me like less than 2 hours to be like, oh.
But there's like 400 endings.
And the problem is I lost the thread of the quest and I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do next, and I had to Google it. And turns out a lot of people have complained about this. So I only this weekend finished the first bit of the story. I went 77 hours, and I just now kind of finished the first of the 7 parts or something. Wow. So I'm in the second part now, and it's kind of weird because you're kind of like replaying stuff that you already did, but from a different character's perspective. And I said it on super easy, guys. I'm not really interested in that kind of battle system. I'm very, very bad at it. So I kind of appreciate that for morons like me with no reflexes, that I can just set it on easy and it kind of just fights the fight for me. I'm not really going into this looking for a challenge. I really just wanted to play through it, see what the universe was, see what the characters are like, get some idea of what or how they might, some information. I don't want it to be like the monastery where at the end I don't know what the fuck is going on. Because there's lore that to understand what the fuck is going on, you had to have played the other games.
Well, there ain't no easy mode to tactics, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I've just, whatever. I'll play near. I'm really enjoying it, though. I'm enjoying the story. I might have to go replay it, actually, because there have been a couple nights where I was playing so long, and I was drinking, and I don't really remember what happened. So, I may have to play through some of it again.
That happens.
That happens, yeah.
Sometimes on this podcast.
Sometimes I get blackout drunk.
Well, if I didn't download Wargroove, I might have started on that. So I've been playing the hell out of Wargroove.
No, what Wargroove is?
It's on the Switch. It's a strategy RPG, top down, move your units, attack. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, then I think we have our monthly patrons.
Yes, I'm going to read the patrons for this month, the month of March. Want to give a shout out to Wade, Kevin Hughes, Truzian, Eddie, Zach, and Varya. Thank you so much for your donations, for being a patron. We're meeting all of our goals currently, so thank you for being a part of this. And we encourage any of those that are on the journey with us to become a patron. We do have a Discord channel as one of the benefits for the $5 tier. So if you donate $5 or more per month, you can join us on the Discord. We've got a few people in there. We're trying to chat, and something that we're trying to do with that Discord since we've launched it is just get everybody involved in the conversation. So things that we're going to talk about on the upcoming episodes, throw that in there and let a discussion take place and use your ideas to kind of fuel us in the next episode. So be there or be square, folks. But thank you so much for being a part of our journey.
Thank you. I was stunned, Ruby, when you're like, oh, we're meeting our goal. And I'm like, no way.
Yes way, Ted.
Way. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. All right, you can shoot the shit with us on our website, www.gtffxiv.com. Let us know what you've been up to or whether we left the music off of the bumpers.
We did that on purpose just to see if anybody's listening. Apparently, we only have one listener, so come on. We put Easter eggs in these things to find out who's really listening.
All right. The first round is the news. First one's announcement, announcing the Flowers for All screenshot contest. This just came up. I haven't read it yet, but apparently from Monday, March 4th through Friday, March 15th, there is a screenshot contest. Get ready for the season by capturing a screenshot of your character solo or with a group of friends celebrating the coming of spring. Boy, I'm not sure. I just got a flash of not safe for work. Sort of.
I've already seen a thread on the Shitpost XIV with this picture on there, so it's already begun, Yelta.
It's already
begun. It just won't be on the official forums.
I won't be entering that. It's sort of pagan rites.
Entering, you say?
Okay. So yes, so to enter, you do a screenshot of your character. You have to put your character's name and world. There is a submission page is that on the official forums? Oh no, it's actually it's an actual page. I don't know. I never do those things. And I should, because I don't have that Gallic hat.
Well, the last contest, I don't even think enough people entered to fill in all the slots, so it would be a good idea to enter this contest. Now, can I divert just a little bit? I would like, during whatever the next Q&A, whenever the next Fan Fest is, or whenever the next chance
you're gonna bitch about the prizes.
I'm going to bitch about the prizes. Can somebody ask Yoshida to update this shit? For Christ's sake, can we stop talking about eggy glamours? And, I'll even suspend the taco conversation for somebody to ask Yoshida, when the fuck are you going to update the prizes for these contests? And when the fuck are you going to update the platinum packs for the triple triad stuff? So, okay. There you go. Rant over.
And even they could honestly even reskin some of the stuff, and I'd probably be happy.
Nobody know the damn difference.
Yeah.
Put a tomato. Put the fucking king tomato where the Mandragora choker is, or whatever. You could change that.
All right. I'm sure there's rules, but if you want to enter this, go read them yourself. There's going to be 30 winners, so, that's actually, being of 30 is probably not that hard. So go enter that if you want. I'll forget.
Do you like your flower crown as a gift or your prize for
It
the
dies
ladies?
ugly.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I was going to cover that later, but
Okay.
it dies
We'll save
ugly, and why is the men and women's different? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers pre-order items are available, as we said. It is the lovely Aetheride Earring, which I am a super duper fan of, and the, was it a baby gremlin? I think that's what it is. Baby gremlin. So now, what's confusing is the site, when you go to it, just shows you the earring. It doesn't show you the gremlin. So people were confused. Do you get the gremlin now? And the answer is yes, I have it. I'm rocking the gremlin right now. It's so cute. It's huge. It's like almost as tall as my Lalafell, by the way.
You also have to jump through that hoop where when you pre-order, you click the button that takes you to a page that you enter a code to get another code to go back to the MOG station and enter your code to get the thing. So we've already had friends in the Discord, our personal Discord, like, what? So read the instructions carefully, but you've got to do a couple of steps before you finish up. And you still can get it because obviously your boy Ruby got it, and this was after it came out. I did it like a day ago or two, and that was after it launched. So you can do it today whenever you're listening to this podcast.
It's still
a pre-order.
So, yeah, you have not missed the boat on this. All right, letter from the producer live, part 50 at the Tokyo Fan Festival. I'm hype. Well, I'm actually more hype about the opening one, but the live letter I'm excited for, too. That's March 23rd. I knew there was a reason I wouldn't trade days with that guy. No. Somebody wanted to trade a day, and I'm like, I think I'm busy. So this,
You are?
Yeah, it's at 6 p.m. PDT. Starting time subject to change. And they're going to have it on the Twitch channel. That's Japanese language. The official Square Enix Twitch channel. Oh, there's two. What? Okay, gotcha. Official Final Fantasy XIV Twitch channel will be Japanese. The official Square Enix trailer Twitch channel will be English. So, all right, they're going to have a special guest, Banri Oda, the world lore creator and main scenario writer.
He's the big boss of lore.
He's the. Oh yeah, he's the one Koji Fox talks about. Yeah. So you can submit questions ahead of time in the designated thread. It's on the official forums. Zexos has posted the first post here to talk about how to submit your questions, and that if someone has the same question you had, just hit like. Don't double post things. So, and these are questions for the world lore creator and main scenario writer. So don't ask about, job balancing or why housing sucks. That's not the place for this.
Nope.
All right. That.
One other thing I want to mention, just because this came up in our own personal Discord recently, and talking about official Square Enix Twitch channels, there have been some fake Twitch channels floating about recently. The one I saw most recent was Final_Fantasy XIV, and when you get there, they're claiming, hey, double XP and other benefits, but then there's a link that they put at the bottom, like, click here to get your prizes. And I didn't click there, but I've heard when you click there, it asks you to change your password. These are phishing attempts, everybody. So we would hope that most of our listeners are smart enough to understand what a phishing attempt is. But if you... That sounded terrible, Ruby. Rephrase that.
Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
Listen, dumbasses, don't give your password to anybody. No, what I mean is, if it's not the official thing, don't buy into it. Don't follow the links. Don't do anything there. There's no double XP. There's none of that stuff going on. People want to steal your account. Don't let that happen. You're going to end up being somebody's bot bitch selling Gil. Your character's gone. And they'll steal your Final Fantasy character.
Have you seen all the... So I was on the official forums, and there have been a lot of PS4 players that are reporting their characters are gone. Like, deleted.
What?
Yeah, I should go find it. Yeah, it's, I don't know what's going on. Or it might have been one person double posting, but apparently there is an avenue for getting your character restored. I've never had to do it, thank Christ, but... yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's people falling for these phishing attempts or what.
That's terrible.
So protect yourself out there. Get a dual authenticator token.
Yes.
Because even if you give your password away, it still should be hard then for anyone else to fuck with you.
Agreed.
All right, and another reason for great drama and fear and whatnot is the NA EU data center expansion. What are we getting? New data centers. And they're splitting up our old data centers, and it's scary. So European servers is getting a new data center named Light, and they are doing this April 2nd. They have a list of the current EU this is all on the official forum, or the Lodestone. So they got a list of the current EU data center, and then they have what it's going to look like after they add Light. And then North American, they're going to get a new data center called Crystal. And then they're taking Aether and Primal, chopping them up, and adding some of those to Crystal. So this is affecting us. We're losing people who could join us, or used to raid with us, still could join us for things in the data center, but their world is going to Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna accommodate us. We've talked about this a little bit before. So for a period of approximately 2 weeks following the implementation of the new data centers, all the characters on affected data centers will be able to transfer worlds at no cost. And they're going to make a lot of accommodations. Like, you're going to be able to carry a lot more gil with you. You're going to get your full estate cost returned to you, and 3 million gil to compensate for lost furnishings. If you have an apartment, you're going to get the full purchase price of 500,000 gil, and you're going to get an extra 500,000 gil to compensate. Let's see. Additionally, all active accounts with game time remaining in regions that experience a maintenance period longer than 24 hours will have their remaining game time extended by 1 day.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's good. They've kind of started like I was actually really happy when they have given us extended times before, and then the Valentine's Day event, when that was borked up by maintenance, they extended that for longer than the maintenance. So I think they're kind of getting at that if they're going to keep the servers down for a really long time, an unusually long time, they have to, probably cost them almost nothing, right? Bump everybody's subscription out a day.
Mm-hmm.
So the EU availability, let's see, Tuesday, April 2nd to Monday, April 15th. That's theirs. And North America, April 23rd to Monday, May 6th. So that's what that is. Oh, okay. I missed this earlier. So the European data center, theirs is happening April 2nd. North America, ours is happening April 23rd. Don't take that day off, guys.
Oh, no,
you won't
get
to play.
Just kidding.
I hope you have something to do. They have some caveats. Transfers to congested worlds is still going to be unavailable. You're still going to be able to transfer to a preferred world. You're going to get, there's bonuses for that. Players transferring to standard worlds will not be able to transfer again for 3 days. People transferring to preferred worlds will, as always, be unable to transfer again for 90 days. They don't want you to, transfer to a preferred world, get the benefits, and then hop back off again. So, that is happening.
Very cool. I mean, I don't really understand the fear behind it, other than, I guess, if you're one of those worlds that's being moved, I think those perks are pretty damn good, and the fact that they put that they'll give us some playtime back, because I can already hear the forums going, what the fuck about my lost playtime?
80 cents. 80 cents gone.
Oh, my God. So I think they covered all the bases with that. I just hope that it goes smooth. There's no weird crashes or anything that happen after that. That's going to be the real test, in my opinion.
All our characters get where they're supposed to be with all of their stuff. People are already people are paying for transfers right now. There's a lot of people transferring all over the place. There's people who are bailing over to like one of the ones that are going to stay on the Aether, because they figure that's going to be where they figure that's going to be the raiding data cluster, and us on Primal. And there's people like fear-mongering that, you won't be able to fill a party finder, and you won't be able to fill anything. There's people like losing their mind, apparently, because we're not on Gilgamesh or on a data center with Gilgamesh anymore. We won't be able to do anything. Well, we never were, but not us on Excalibur. And then there's people being assholes about how Crystal is the, ERP dumping grounds, and that's the slums or whatever. There's people just being real jerks about the whole thing. I don't know. They have to do something. And I know for this period of discomfort, confusion, and chaos, the game is still growing. I think that's what people forget. People scream, I can't make a character on the server my friends are on. But then you can't also scream, oh my God, they're splitting up data centers and adding more servers. There's only so much room in a bucket. You can't just keep filling it. Mm-hmm. So it's a kind of a necessary evil. Evil's not even the right word, but and things are going to settle down. They're adding the world visit system. So yeah, we'll be split up into 3 data centers, but we're going to be able to freely visit any server in our data center. We're going to be able to buy stuff off their market boards. Some people are freaking out about that too, but honestly, I think a rebalancing of the market boards is going to happen. It should be good. I don't know. I hope it'll be good. I'm not an economist, so.
Well, we'll cover it here if it's not. Drama alert.
Drama. Pre-alert. Be alert. Alright, be alert that this fucking fat cat is adorable. So we do have new optional items available. We have the fatter cat, an account-wide mount for 24 USD. Again, that's very expensive. At least it's account-wide. But I was kind of laughing at myself because I'm like, I always say, well, at least it's account-wide. But I only play one character anyway. So. And then we have the authentic Far Eastern doll display. The emotes from last year's Little Ladies Day.
Yeah.
And the Siren Song Orchestrion roll. What was that?
That's a 1.0 song. That's a 1.0 song from, I think if you have the original 1.0 soundtrack, it's one of the first few songs on the soundtrack. Okay. It's a little ditty or whatever. But these are, again, the stuff from last year, which is pretty cool. I've used these emotes, and people have asked me, where do you get that emote? I'm like, you missed it. Well, now you can buy it.
Now you can buy it. They're very in-your-face emotes. I have a small house in the lavender beds, and pretty much I do have one of these Far Eastern doll displays, and I love it.
Yeah, we have it in our personal house.
Yeah.
It's dyeable.
It is. I haven't tried dyeing they need to give us the way to preview dyes on furniture. Because you can't. You cannot preview the dye on furniture. You just have to dye it. And that's annoying to me.
Seen a lot about this feather. I'm not big into buying the mounts typically. It has to be something it has to tickle my asshole in a special way. And the fatter cat just didn't do it for me, at least not yet. Maybe when there's a sale. I do like these mounts that they put the little padding on the top because I like this plaid pattern that's on the top of it. They did that with the whale, and I like the way that the whale looks.
Christ, there's a table and wine glasses on the whale.
It's awesome. So I'm liking the detail that they put. The one that what really got me with this mount, even though I didn't buy it, was the description that it's like the necromanced dead. You know, it's been like either it was been brought from the void or it's possessed by a demon. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dark.
Wow. It's adorable. I've seen it in game. I've almost gone to the Mog Station and bought it like 4 times. It's kind of that borderline, though, between completely fucking ridiculous and I hate it, and oh my god, it's so ridiculous, I love it. I'm really stuck on this one.
A lot of people said, take my money, Yoshida.
Mm-hmm. I've almost bought it about 4 times. Let me have some more rum, and I probably will. I mean, look at the fucking pink bows on its legs. And it makes a meow sound when you mount it.
So do most Miko, too.
All right, next topic. Little Lady's Day is here. We've talked about it a little bit already. If you haven't started it yet, it is called Princess of Flowers. It's in Ul'dah. You have from now through March 13th to do it, so you don't get on it. It's not a very long quest. The initial quest itself, well, somebody said it sucked. I was in a voice chat yesterday and people were like, it sucked. And I'm like, well, it was short and there wasn't much to it. But actually, I kind of thought it was kind of a sweet little... It wasn't very involved. It wasn't a very involved seasonal
The Rogadin
event.
were sweet.
They were my favorite.
That made me tear up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of, you know, I was kind of surprised, honestly, that, you know, it was a cute story. So there's a little storyline, and then we of course have the event items. We talked about them briefly. The item that you get for your character is the flower crown. It's just a dyeable daisy chain, but I don't know. The men's dye is prettier than the women's. So if you look at this picture, there's yellow daisies and pink daisies, and then the men's has yellow daisies and white daisies.
Oh,
and the men's also has more leaves.
Uh-huh.
And it's
almost Roman.
Yeah. So the men's one, from what I've read, dyes much prettier. I tried mini dyes to get mine to look good, but ugh.
So I was going to do the dye thing, and I looked because I was wearing an outfit. I was wearing the original outfit. It's the Shenistol, whatever the hell the name is. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I was wearing that gear because I always put on a different outfit depending on the event, the holiday, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm wearing it, and it's undyed. It's white and black for the most part with a little bit of gold trim. And I'm like, well, what does black dye look on this ground? Well, it dyes the yellow flower, which doesn't look terrible. It's kind of but it doesn't look terrible because at least it's black, white, black, white. Mm-hmm. But now I'm looking at the female.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have white.
Dyes, and we have to try to make something that goes with that weird, because it's not even a pretty red. That
it's
red
pink, in my opinion.
It's not even a pretty. One's pink. Yeah, it's ugly. It dyes ugly.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, and then of course the other. You have 2 other items that are tabletop, so you have to have, you know, a house, and they're cute. Festive sushi balls looks like a little doll's display, which is cute, and the other one is festive. I don't even know how to say that. And then, of course, from doing the repeatable quest, you get Magic Prism Daisies, which my husband has 800 of.
I only have 70.
I don't even mind that, you know, it doesn't have a ton of rewards. Not everything's going to be a mount and a full outfit and whatever, but I feel like I may have to go back and see what kind of rewards we've gotten from different events through the years. And
we've gotten some good ones from, like, last year's I thought were good. The emotes are pretty amazing. And then when we get full outfits, that's not too bad. So for this one to be a dud, I mean, it kind of probably evens out overall for all the other Little Ladies' Day events. And then, of course, we're going into Shadowbringers. I know that shouldn't be much of an excuse, but at the same time, it's like, well, put all your resources into Shadowbringers. I don't really care for major events. What do we got next? We got Easter.
Yep, there'll be an Easter.
And then what? It'll be the Golden Week?
Oh, yeah. When that's
for
and they
that's
did
May.
And they did a night. The first year they did that, it was actually a cool. I remember the first year I liked because it was like a mystery theater kind of thing.
Not Mystery Science Theater.
Not Mystery Science Theater. That's something else entirely. Fan clubs and Hopkins. You know, but I think like the second year, and yes, they're not going to do. How many seasonal events do we get? Are there like 8?
8 million seasonal events.
I mean, there's a lot of. They do a lot of seasonal events.
It's almost one per month.
Yeah, and I don't really mind because you know, especially when they like for Valentine's Day, it was the same active event with a different story, and I didn't mind that. You know, that didn't bother me at all. And this was more like a little bit of a story and then a repeatable thing. And actually, some people hated the repeatable thing. And I'm like, some people hated the story. But I'm like, sorry, like New Year's, I do a tiny bit of talking to a guy and I go out and do the mochi fate and come back and I'm done. I mean...
New Year's was lame.
Yeah, so...
New Year's was lame.
But I keep thinking of, do you remember in 1.something, the Year of the Horse?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was disturbing and long and I really enjoyed the fuck out of it. I should glamour
like Archifant, disturbing and long.
Yeah, I need to glamour something with that horse head just cause. I don't know. But anyway, it's alright. I think it was fine for a smaller event. Maybe they have to decide how many a year should be big or small. I'm just worried. Part of me, people are going to hate this. Part of me, deep in my heart, is a little bit scared that they spend more time putting stuff on the fucking Mog Station instead of designing like a nice new dress or something for us here.
Where did I read? I think I get most of my news now from Shitpost XIV.
I love Shitpost XIV.
I'm going to be honest, at least they'll tell it like it is for some stuff. Like you have to dig through some of the bullshit and the you know, tongue in cheek and the whatever. But some of the stupid racist comments as well. But a lot of the information though, at least at face value, is true. And I saw a post about declining numbers, not in subs, but in money that was coming in, and I don't remember what the actual value was, but it was year over year. Like Square Enix, it wasn't making as much profit as it was the year prior, and it may have been just from the MMO division or something else. So it makes sense that there may be more Mog Station items, higher value items for sale to make up for some lost revenue. At the end of the day, anything in the Mog Station is going to be a cash grab. I mean, that's just what it is. You're buying an item on a game you already paid for. In fact, I love this game, so don't get me wrong, but you bought a game that you pay a subscription for that you also buy optional items for. I mean, you're shoveling money at Square Enix. Yoshida is swimming like Scrooge McDuck in this cash. Yeah. He's spitting out diamonds and jewels and gold coins from his mouth saying, we don't have enough resources to do this for you.
Would you rather that, or would you rather pay $1 more a month for your sub? Honestly, I think I'd rather pay $1 more a month of my sub.
Possibly,
right?
Yes. Now I am legacy like you, so
yeah.
You know,
so we're paying.
We don't pay
nothing.
shit.
I don't know. Half of me understands the stuff that comes over from the Chinese servers, right? That was stuff designed out of network or whatever, right? So I think they pay to get, I don't know. That's always the excuse I've heard was, well, that was a Chinese exclusive item, so we have to pay to get it. Honestly, last night I was doing a map party, and we were talking about a bunch of us had summoned our chocobos. And people were
That's not a sexual euphemism or anything,
oh,
is it?
baby. You missed that map party.
Just, God damn it.
That's okay. If you'd been there, we wouldn't have been as lucky, right?
I definitely wouldn't have got lucky.
Your name came up a few times, especially because we got all the way to the bottom floor on the first 2 things we did. We're like, haha, Ruby's not here, so we'll have a good map party.
Fuck you guys very much. Thank you.
It was said with love.
But
no, so we all had our chocobos out, and somebody had like the chocobo raincoat, and people were like, oh wow, where do you get that? And honestly, it was kind of a refreshing feeling of people actually chatting in the game while doing stuff. It felt a little bit old school, actually. So then I was like looking through I'm like, man, I wonder if I have any old bardings, no one knows what it is, and I put on the, it was one of the Easter bardings, and someone was like, oh my god, where do you get that? And I'm like, that's a funny story. I'm like, okay, first of all, not where I got it, it's not that funny, but, so it was from an in-game event. I'm sure you can buy it off the Mog Station now. I said, the funny thing is I still have on a different character the barding sitting there in her inventory because up until that event, you could, after a period of time, resell event items that you farmed up. I made a lot of my gil repeating events, and some of those were not short. Some of those were like many hours of farming to get, the stuff that you could resell. So I had, previously I had sold bardings and songs and I don't know, glamour items later. So you like the cherry trees. Farm up a whole bunch of cherry trees and then like wait 6 months and then you could sell them and you'd make a fuck ton of money. Well, it was the year of that Easter event where you got the chocobo barding. I farmed up extras because I was going to sell them as I usually do. They never went sellable. So I still have one on a character that I can't use or won't use, just kind of as a reminder that was the day SU just realized they could sell their shit next year on the Mog Station. And I'm still bitter. Not that there's anything to spend gil on anyway.
No, but there's a lot of items that are like in Eureka that nobody cares. Like there's a barding in there, there's some items in there, or like what is it, the dinosaur mount and things like that. It's like at some point you should make those sellable.
Well,
at some point,
switch some of them to sellable, but not all of them. Mm-hmm. I actually got an extra Red Mage barding just last week. I think it was Red Mage barding. One of the bardings that drops in Eureka, but it's untradeable, so you just basically throw it on the floor. Throw it on the floor. All right. Let's see. That's it for Little Lady's Day. It was cute. Go do it. Final Fantasy XIV boss talks how Blue Mage experiment went over and the future of the game. I'm trying to think if I even read this one. Ha! But
I did. I skimmed it.
Yeah.
Let's read it.
We'll read it to you. So, we'll paraphrase it to you. Final Fantasy XIV's in a good place. But just 9 years ago, things were looking disastrous. Blah, blah, blah. We know all this. So Yoshi-P took the helm and steered.
Mama Yelta, tell me the story of 1.0 again.
It was awesome in some ways and sucked in others. All right. So, blah, blah, blah. Blue Mage was just recently made it to Final Fantasy XIV. The initial response was complete and utter excitement, and then that scene died down a bit once Square Enix revealed the aforementioned job would basically be a solo-oriented class. Now, they write this like months went by, but it was in 45 seconds of that.
I was going to say, this was like between one sentence and another at FanFest where we're like, yeah, huh? And then a silence went across the crowd and we all were like, what?
Yeah, that was, we talked about it in this podcast. We're like, Blue Mage, yes, and then dead fucking silence. And that's, yeah. So, as we know, Blue Mage, basically solo-oriented class, and it's not tuned for bigger groups, and can't access most of the content of the game. Getting down to business, I asked Yoshida to shed some light on this decision out of the gate, noting that there is potential for Blue Mage-only PvP content. He explained that using powerful blue magic is what makes the class so interesting. And given that it, quote, breaks the balance of the game, quote, it wouldn't be feasible to allow raid participation. He clarifies there's no plans for that. He also explains that certain abilities like level 5 death would have to be removed entirely. With that in mind, Yoshida and his team resolved to make Blue Mage as fun and wacky as possible, which includes more updates in the future. The interviewer pressed Yoshida on why he decided to include Blue Mages at all, to which he responded, Final Fantasy V as his favorite and first rendition of the job he took to it, and said he loved the level 3 flare ability. Yoshida finally recalls the great struggle to attain it and the hilarity of it breaking the game. He ties this to my earlier inquiry, reiterating that he thought it would be fun to bring this sort of experience to Final Fantasy XIV. So, how are players taking to it? Yoshida says the feedback isn't far from their expectations. The team is working on ways to improve the interface and include more themed challenges custom tailored to the job. In typical Yoshida fashion, the team was already looking at doing that, but now he wants to go further to meet their goals. Bringing to light the 2.0 edition of the game A Realm Reborn brought us the ninja in a similar fashion, while 3.0 Heavensward skipped on a late to the expansion job. I asked whether getting back to a normal cadence. Yoshida isn't promising anything. As far as whether or not Square Enix considers it a success, Yoshida P says he thinks it's a success. Yes. He expands on that thought, noting that Blue Mage allowed us to implement a job with a number of unique actions and a higher level of difficulty in terms of progression. This generally may be considered unsuitable for the modern MMO, which leads a bit more casually. He names drops Beastmaster and Puppet Master as potential new solo jobs, making sure to say, of course I'm not saying these are concrete plans of any sort, so please don't misunderstand that point. I'd love to see a pet tanking class in raids, so save the former for a core job, please. You're not going to get it, guys. If he thinks that what we got is a Blue Mage, he's probably thinking that Beastmaster from 11 is what we're going to get, and that's a solo job. Or, well, was back when I played. So anyway, as for the future of the game, Yoshida is still unsure. I brought up his at least 2 more expansions left quote, which was used before Shadowbringers was announced, trying to get a general feel for how long Final Fantasy XIV has left. Yoshida indicated that he has a general image of the Final Fantasy XIV story, but wasn't trying to mark any number of expansions left for the game. He responds, expansions will always be necessary for 14's continued growth, and there will be more of them as long as we continue developing. Even if I no longer am in charge of 14 in the future, that will not mean we will cease the development of future expansion packages. Now, is that a hint? Is he going? I don't know.
I don't know.
Breaking it down for the fans, he gets into some inside baseball beats while teasing more to come. If we hypothetically call our current main scenario questline for the Hydaelyn/Zodiac arc, that storyline is now past its midpoint and is going to ramp up from here. However, even if this arc finishes, that does not necessarily mean that the whole story of 14 will end. As long as there are Warriors of Light, the adventure will most likely not come to an end. That's fine with me. I'll likely keep playing until the servers shut down.
Well, that'll be a long time. 11's still going.
Well, and that's why I'm like, 11's still going, and it still gets updates, right?
Yeah, so 11, I follow them on Twitter, and I still see updates. There was one recently about different things that they're adding to it. Now, they're longer in between, and they're different things, and they're, you know, the stuff that they add in after the fact, and they're not necessarily expansions. And I believe eventually 14 will get to that point. A couple of things from this interview that I want to throw out there. When Yoshida says that the feedback isn't far from their expectations, what were their goddamn expectations then after this? I know Yelta and I were pretty hyped for Blue Mage, as were so many people. And if Blue Mage had met the expectations of what they said it was going to be, and I'm not talking about not being a regular job. I'm talking about the part where he says powerful blue magic that breaks the balance of the game. It don't break shit. I can't go solo Shiva by myself. It don't break shit, okay? I should be able to go into Shiva and pretty much, you know, be kind of eye to eye. And the fact that you can't use level 5 death, just turn it off. Just make it where level 5 death doesn't work on raid bosses. I don't see what the big deal.
Players would understand that's just too broken. Yeah.
You've got like 49 abilities. Just take it off your bar. It would be something that you wouldn't use. We've talked about this before, but there's a lot of bloat, I believe, with Blue Mage, where like you've got multiple abilities that stun. And so, things like Bad Breath are awesome. But like, why do I need Phase and, you know, a few of these others that do the same thing? You know, like it doesn't make sense.
Well, it's like Pokemon, I think. You got to catch them all, even if you don't use them.
Well, I'm good with the whole catch 'em all thing. I'm just not good with them not having. I guess not every Pokemon has use either, but it seemed more like bloat than it felt like a well-rounded experience. And then I guess the other thing that I wanted to say in here was, let's talk about this little hint, because when Yoshida gives hints, he doesn't really give hints of something that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. He talked about Red Mage way before Red and Blue were talked about way before he did it. So he's like a bad boxer in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. He telegraphs every one of his fucking moves with an eye wink and an eyebrow wave, and we know what he's going to do. But this thing here when he says he may not be the producer forever. Where did he say that? Even if I'm no longer in charge of 14 in the future. Now, we've talked about that ourselves before. If he stepped out of the director role and somebody else was I don't mind it being producer, but maybe the director part of it. Or, he's got a bigger hat. He's over a larger division. His name is on multiple games that are not MMOs.
14 is not the only thing he's doing. I think people forget that.
So I think at some point some fresh breath from a different director might be necessary for the continued growth of Final Fantasy XIV, because the stale shit, again, when I go and read some of the stuff from Shitpost, or I read some of the stuff in the Reddit and the Twitters, you can be jaded, and I'm not trying to be jaded because we love this game, but there are times when you this is about as cut and pasty as the hamster tubes from old Gridania 1.0. There is some shit that is just stale as week-old bread. We got to get some freshness going on here. And if Shadowbringers is Stormblood 2.0, which was Heavensward 2.0, which was
I thought it was good of a story, in my opinion. I mean...
I thought about that the other day, too. I was I was listening to the soundtrack on the plane coming back from Massachusetts, and I was like, this music is a boss, but the story was kind of shit for Stormblood. In some ways, there were some cool parts, but I was like, this story was kind of shit. So I'm expecting a better story out of Shadowbringers, but if we need to breathe some new life in this thing, and the fact is, it always comes down to who's in charge. Somebody's head has got to roll, and it can't be Mr. Ozma, and it can't be the lore team, because the lore is pretty fucking solid in this game. It ain't sure as hell soaking. Somebody's head's going to roll when things get stale, and you just can sell so many fat cats and so many big whales or whatever else to make up the difference for reduced sales. So I'm not saying this game is dying, but they need to make sure that the shit they roll out, if it's meeting expectation. What was your expectation of these new things?
I'm disappointed that he didn't answer that more fully. So he's saying the feedback met their expectations, but what feedback did you read? What were their expectations? Who did they listen to? Because they're, he didn't even follow up with, well, we realized, it was kind of chancy putting a solo job into a game, or to get most of their abilities, they had to be in a party, that kind of thing. And it's not really as overpowered as we promised. And Christ,
Yeah, we realized after 3 weeks nobody was really playing it anymore, so we've decided that when we do it, we're going to add some more things, but we're listening to the feedback to make it more enjoyable for a longer haul. They didn't say anything like that.
It was it's about what we expected. And I don't think the feedback on Blue Mage was that good.
I don't think so either.
Right? So were they expecting to be shit on? I mean, I don't know.
Yikes.
Now, don't get me wrong, I like Blue Mage for what it is, but I'm glad I farmed the fucking primal spells already. I still have all the dungeon spells left, and there are not parties up for that, and I will probably make my own, or I will probably...
Yeah, we gotta do some free company parties.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to set up some free company stuff, because, I'm still missing a lot of it. Well, not tons, but they're all dungeon ones, and I expected to be able to go in there... Honestly, I expected to be able to go in there with my squadron. Right. I expected, or to be so overpowered. I actually kind of expected I expected Primals to be the outlier, that would be what I would have to team up for. I did not expect to have to team up for, and maybe I just suck, or I'm too scared to try, but, dungeon drops, I didn't expect to have to come up with a party for those, to do them in any sort of reasonable time frame.
Here's a final thought. Trust system.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the trust systems, but what did they say about trust systems in the last one? Well, what they did say, Yelta, was that it was going to be geared for the Shadowbringers content, right? They didn't say that the trust system was for the 2.0 stuff and the 3.0 stuff, which is what we would have thought it was for.
It scares me. I expected the trust system to be for old content, for those lagging behind. I think it's disastrous if they're, and it sounds like they are, if they're designing the trust system so you can solo through with your trusts new content. I think that's crap.
I think it's terrible. I think it should be used for the old content, and then I could say, oh, well, Blue Mage can use your trust, and maybe I can do Shiva by myself with my trust by my side or whatever. It seems like, did they not think cohesively
it's
for
like
the different
right?
content? Yeah.
But I might be jaded, too, because I feel like they added trusts to 11 when there weren't enough people willing to help you with stuff. Right now, there's still a fucking active player base. They should be encouraging us more to run shit with our friends. They should be rewarding us higher for making party finders or something. You know what I mean? I feel like we should be rewarded more, encouraged more for playing together with other real people. And I know it's hard for a lot of people don't play well with others. And I don't mean that in a mean way. We have people with anxiety, we have people with disabilities, we have people with, whatever is causing them not to, or could be your work hours. Maybe the server you're on is fucking dead after you get home from work. And I applaud Square Enix for, trying to give you a way to, build a NPC party to actually get some shit done, but it's an MMO. When is it going to stop being an MMO? That's what I'm scared of. We're just going to be all playing next to each other and not with each other.
Well, and I talked about this in the last episode, I think, where I'm afraid that eventually, it's not really a fear, but I feel like that they could go this route. The point of the trust system and everything else that they're leading up to is at some point they want people to play Final Fantasy XIV offline. Like, how does it retain its numbered status as a story if you can't play, and there's only 3 people left in the world that give a shit about 14, but you want to play through it? Instead of you going to watch a bunch of YouTube videos like you would have to do for Final Fantasy XI, you would just play in offline mode with your trusts and whatever else, and you can complete the entire story arc, at least the normal story, maybe not the raids, but the entire normal story arc with just me, myself, and I, and NPC Alphino and NPC Thancred and NPC Ishtola.
It's worrying, I guess. I don't know. I'm not terrified, though. There's still an active player base. There's still a lot up in the Party Finder. I'm hoping that Shadowbringers looks exciting enough that people will return. I'm hoping that...
our free company's growing. There's still people coming in, new players. We're not trying to be doom and gloom here, but we are looking in the far future. Yeah. We want to look at the end game, so to speak.
For sure. All right, there was another interview. This one was Kotaku. Final Fantasy XIV's director talks Blue Mages, world visits, and modern MMOs. This one I haven't actually read, so I'm going to read this one too. So Final Fantasy XIV is prepping for a new expansion later this summer. The lead up to this expansion, Shadowbringers, has brought new classes like the Blue Mage and will soon open worlds to the ability to visit other servers. Kotaku emailed questions to Yoshi-P about the new job classes, whether or not world visits could shake up economies, and what multiplayer games he's keeping his eye on these days. On the introduction of Blue Mages, Yoshi-P, the Blue Mage is only able to acquire balance because it is what we call a limited job. There are no plans to remove the limited aspect from this job. However, we do plan to raise the level cap on Blue Mage, and this doesn't necessarily have to be timed with the expansion release, so at some point during 5.x patch series, people can expect new blue magic, which can be acquired, additions to the Masked Carnival, and even new content to tackle. I would say we're only at the So You Want to Be a Blue Mage chapter of the overall journey for this job. There's a lot of future Blue Mage content in the pipeline for our players to enjoy. I hope they don't just mean here's some more abilities, go try to find mobs that use them.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And have you done much Masked Carnival?
I did up to the bronze. I had some trouble with one of them and I skipped it. I think it was the 8th one with the slimes and some towers or something. And I did the 8th one and it was fine. I didn't go further than that because I thought it was a little bland. It was a mix to me between just all-out killing, and then there were some puzzle elements, which that part is kind of cool. I wasn't expecting that.
I expected them to be a little harder, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit. And then I didn't try the silver or gold, but again, I'm like half on the abilities. I don't have any of the primal ones. I have half of the dungeon ones, because I did most of my stuff solo. So I'm waiting to see once I get some of the primal ones, because there's some things like use one of each element type. Well, I don't even have some of the elements. Unless some things count that I didn't realize that they are elements.
Go reread them, but yeah, we need that. That just means we have to go do more parties and get those things. But I don't know. On the idea of limited jobs, Heather Alexandria from Kotaku. But how do you decide what is or is not limited? For Blue Mage, it seemed to rest on how difficult it was to control when players unlock certain skills. Is there another job that you want to have in-game but only see working as a limited class? Beastmaster, for instance. Yoshida. The process of developing one of these jobs doesn't start with us asking ourselves what will be the next limited job. We are, however, mindful of two things. Ensuring both that the job or job type we implement will be enjoyed by the players, and that it will make for an interesting and fun experience. During this process, if we come to a potential job that we feel may not necessarily fit well within standard party gameplay, we will then consider whether or not we make it a limited job. So they're just like throwing jobs against the wall and see if they fall into the can deal with party play, must be solo buckets.
Well, this is how I read this, Yelta. When they say the first step, we are, however, mindful of two things. Ensuring both that the job or job type we implement will be enjoyed by the players. I don't read that as enjoyed by the players. I see which one has been hyped up by the official forums or what the feedback we're getting, so we can make that one first. They're going solely on hype, I believe. They're saying, what's the most hyped up name? And it may be Beastmaster at this point, other beyond Dancer and maybe Geomancer or Necromancer or something like that. They're going to go purely on hype because hype is what brings dollars. Hype is what is going to bring the cash in. But beyond that, and when they say going to make it an interesting and fun experience, I think enough hype that they can hook you with it, and then they move on to the next thing, which is, I think, is a terrible way to look at that, because you're just saying, how can I get your money and then feed you the next experience, which I feel is like a lot of the content. It's how can I get you to buy into it for this 3-month period, and then when after this 3 months you're like, man, fuck this game, I'm bored again, they hook you with something else. There's not a thing that has longevity, and that would be one of my two biggest issues with Blue Mage is the longevity of it, where you feel like you still have a reason to log into, even if it's for a daily or whatever, a weekly, where you say, hey, this was fun to do. I'm going to log in. I'm going to do my thing. I know some people are doing that, but I just don't have that feeling with it, where I go, I got to do my Masked Carnival. This week it's a different challenge than the week before, and it was fun to do it, so let me knock this out this week, and it's cool. And then the other would be like the promise wasn't kept, that it was game breaking and it was overly powered or whatever else. That I don't believe that promise was met.
Yeah, I think they could go a long way by just kind of tweaking Blue Mage to be even more powerful, honestly.
Yep.
And maybe that's part of their game plan. Maybe the next batch of spells we get are going to be fucking enormously breaking. But, you know what I personally think they could do? If they did nothing else, I feel like right now, if they would just like roll out some upgradable equipment, right? So let's pretend for a minute my weekly mass carnival gave me tokens. And then, because Christ, we need more tokens in this game or something, right? But let's say, like, every 2 weeks, you could purchase a new piece of gear that made you vastly more powerful. Now, I would log in and do these fights because I was working my way towards a cane or a chest piece or something that would make it so I could go back then, and now my spell potencies are so high or something that I can solo Shiva.
A sense of accomplishment within the mini game?
Some progression.
As if they couldn't build lore around what's-her-face that's running the Mass Carnival saying, hey, I'm building stuff for you. As you grow your fan base by doing these things, I can create better gear for you to help you perform in the Mass Carnival. What kind of... Ask Ban Ryota this shit. How come they can't build this lore in? All right, I'll shut up.
Yeah, no, honestly... Send me money, Essie, because that would honestly make me want to do something Blue Mage every week. Right? If I knew I was working my way towards, +2 Blue Mage armor. I don't know. Christ, even something that mirrored maybe the relic armor or gear. Or weapon. Anyway, where were we? Let's see. For Blue Mage, for example, we run into the issue where learning monster actions is the main pillar of the job, but we can potentially see a huge disparity in power between Blue Mages depending on the blue magic they've learned, even if their job level is the same. In other words, too large of a disparity in the number of blue magic abilities learned would create issues if Blue Mages were able to queue normally for duties. Okay, I kind of get that, but you couldn't assign a fucking number that would weight kind of as your gear score or something. I don't know. Christ, they could even say of the 49 abilities, only these are used for party play. Here are your bars. Right? This is not fucking unsolvable.
Each spell could have a gear number to it. Yeah. Some spells weigh 1, some spells weigh 2, some spells weigh 3, whatever.
Additionally, blue magic is interesting because they are powerful. However, oh no, it's almost, he's saying the same thing again. Additionally, blue magic is interesting because they're powerful. However, if we allow blue mages, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so for whatever bullshit reasons they've already explained to us, it's a limited job. By utilizing the concept of limited jobs, I feel it could potentially open up possibilities to explore the addition of jobs such as like Puppet Master and Beastmaster. See, mind you, he keeps saying these 2 jobs again. So I believe, like you, Ruby, if it wasn't already basically confirmed, he would not fucking say it.
Yep. Beastmaster's first, I believe.
I think so too. I think Beastmaster would make more sense. Well, who knows? Honestly, the lore could make that decision, but there's a lot of beasts. I really think Beastmaster as a limited job would be really fun and interesting. And Puppet Master was another one in 11 that kind of lost identity, was kind of weird. I don't know. All right, I haven't read this next part, but I feel like I'm going to get mad again. So, are we ready?
I'm ready.
All right. On comparisons to Final Fantasy 11 and making a modern, in quotes, MMO. Yoshida. Whenever we compare Final Fantasy 11 with 14, I believe it's important to have a knowledge of the history of the MMORPG genre. 11 is part of the first generation of those games, and the game itself is structured heavily on time to win model. There's the assumption that players will spend huge amounts of time in game, and therefore the game world provides the freedom to adventure without guiding the player through it. However, because you have the freedom people end up getting lost or just spend a lot of time traveling between locations. Furthermore, there was this aspect of not being able to progress through almost all the content without a party. This type of gameplay experience continued for quite some time in the MMO space, although this did create some very strong experiences and memories which helped to drive the development of the MMO RPG genre. It also created an issue in the opposite end of the spectrum. Players weren't able to actually play the game because they couldn't dedicate the time. I have a huge problem with some of this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
My problem, I still think things should take time, but I always thought they were going with the end goal is way out there, but you can chomp it up and move towards it slowly in small chunks of time. If I only have an hour a day to play or 5 hours a week, I will just hit the finish line after someone who has 5 hours a night to play.
I agree.
Right.
I thought that was the goal. I also agree with, I don't necessarily want to walk through 5 zones to get to a spot to do something, or sail on a ship for 15 minutes to get to a part to have something. But when you do what you've done with this game, you get parties like you talked about in the Let's Shoot the Shit, that nobody gives a fuck about the party that they're in. Eureka is supposed to be the Final Fantasy XI experience,
which
but when you
failed.
get into it,
nothing like what I expected.
Right. When you get into it, people give such a little shit about it that as soon as you do a couple of NMs or whatever, it's like, well, fuck you, I'm out. I'm done. Whatever. You think that happened? You think you sat around in Port Juno or Lower Juno trying to get a party for an hour and a half, and then when you finally get one, it disbands in 20 minutes? You gotta be kidding me. Not gonna happen. You're gonna sit out there and you're gonna farm those Mandies or goblins.
Once you gathered up, you were expected to still have an hour or two at least.
Oh yeah, you were going to stick
replacement.
around.
Well, and on top of that, I'm shaking my cane at you youngsters. On top of that, not only did you not join a party unless you had time to finish it or to make it reasonable, because you used to shout for a party or whatever, or start a party. You would guide your group to the killing zone. You would fight your way there. You would find out it was camped and go somewhere else. Now, mind you, these all sound like bad things, but they were part of the experience. I'm okay with us skipping some of that, right? We have an easier time nowadays making a party. We can pretty quickly get somewhere. But, once you were there, you partied. And you partied hard. And if you were going to level anytime soon, you had your next... we didn't used to fucking automatically learn our new abilities. I brought my next set of gear. I bought my next spell scrolls. I bought, I had the next weapon. It was an entirely different situation, but I don't think all of that is useless. You brought foods and potions and stuff. There's so
It's funny you brought up, I remember when you had 30 minutes left, you had to start searching for who the person that was going to replace you were, and you had to go send a whisper to the person sitting in Lower Juno to say, can you replace me? And then when they finally got their ass to where you were at, then you could leave.
Then you could go to bed, right? Yeah. No, there was way more personal responsibility and preparedness. Now, mind you, maybe that's not for 14, and that's okay. I can handle it. I'm got my eye on other games that are wanting to harken back to those kind of eras. But, yeah, a modern MMO has to have some modern things in it, but
once you get to the content, yeah, that's great that we have an auto replacement system. I think that's fantastic. I think it's great that I don't have to sit in Lower Juno for an hour to 2 hours. Oh, but I think it's great that if I'm playing a red mage, that I'm not pushed to the side, or if I'm playing a monk, I'm not pushed to the side, or whatever else.
No one would invite dragoons or something. I can't remember
exactly.
what it was.
Yeah,
my sister and I always made a point of inviting one because fuck it, we were farming stuff. Who cared?
I get that, and that's great, but when you get into the content, there's no feeling of, I need to stick with this because it's important, and that has to do with incentive, and that has to do with enjoyment, I believe. Not maybe so much personal responsibility, although that was a factor in 11, but I did enjoy doing the grinding on some mobs. I did enjoy the magic bursts and skill bursts and things of that nature. And I just feel like that sometimes that enjoyment may not be there, like in something like Eureka or in some of these other content, that it doesn't make you want to stick around for just the pure fun factor of it. And I think that's probably a problem with Blue Mage as well. There's not a fun factor involved, that after 2 weeks when you've gotten your spells and you've done a little bit of the Max Carnival, you're like, I'm kind of done.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm still kind of upset with Pagos, where I spend an hour or more in that party and we only hit chain 33 times. That's ridiculous. Because people were like, I'm going to leave. My timer's almost up. Oh my god, why are you even shouting for someone? We used to poll our party. If I had to go in a half an hour, I would be like, I have to go in a half an hour. Should I find a replacement? And the other people would be like, yeah, I still got 2 hours, so go ahead. Or if two of us had to go, we'd both be finding replacements and they'd both be heading over there before. It's just, there's a lot more communication. Now, there was a lot slower gameplay too. When I go back and play 11 on the server I was playing on, there's downtime. You have time to chat. You have, whatever. But I don't know. There's something. I feel like they're still missing some balance in there between a modern MMO and the spirit of MMO. So anyway, where are we? Let's see. So yeah, they don't want us to not be able to actually play the game because we couldn't dedicate the time. So when they were redesigning it, they had a strong mindset to make A Realm Reborn the final game of the second generation of MMORPGs. Modern day gamers are very busy, and time has become far more valuable than money. Many forms of entertainment, not limited to video games, are now vying for players' time. Keeping that in mind, at the base, Final Fantasy XIV is built upon providing a high-quality experience for players, even if they are only playing in shorter sessions. On top of that base, we create content that provides the opportunity for those who wish to spend more time playing, but never making that a mandatory experience. That's the difference between 11 and 14. Well, there's a lot more, but okay. He goes on to say, I grew up heavily immersed in the first generation MMORPGs myself, so I would like to have the opportunity to create a game that fits the mold, but I'm certain it would be tough to sell in this day and age. On the oncoming world visit system, and whether or not it might affect server economies. Alexandria asks, I know some players who are worried that their servers might see a rise in bots when the gates open. Is the team doing anything to prepare for these sort of things and combat this in the future? Yoshida says, I believe there's no doubt that the economy will show some fluctuation, but I don't think farming bots would suddenly increase in a number across all worlds unless there's a sudden surge in the number of players. Supply and demand should not change drastically. The game economy will show increased activity at first, and I think players will jump from world to world to sell and buy items. However, each of these economies will establish a price point within the market, and the initial fluctuations should stabilize. I'm honestly a bit more concerned about the fluctuations on the market price being very severe over a short amount of time, rather than an increase in bots. As an aside, we've always been applying countermeasures against bots, and we report to our players each week. We continue to ban thousands to tens of thousands of characters that are determined to be taking part in these activities. We will continue to do our due diligence to mitigate this type of activity. That's good and all. I do think there's going to be a massive shakeup when you can buy stuff on other servers. Basically, you go to the teleport crystal, and then you go to the market board and search for something you're looking for, and you can just do that until you find the lowest price and buy it. Or you can use, there's third-party software out there that scans stuff, so you can find the lowest price. Whether that's good or bad depends if you're buying or selling. But it's going to happen, so just, breathe. On other multiplayer games he follows, Yoshida says, I regularly check out all varieties of online games, but currently feel that Monster Hunter World has great potential. The ease of content, magic, and the unique gameplay experience is almost instantaneously provides excitement. Works very well within the current gaming era, and I feel there's even greater potential for this title. One other strong example would, of course, be the World of Warcraft. Looking at the various challenges they took on with their latest expansion package, I feel that they have certain foresight that can look even a few years ahead and continue to very strong. Well, okay, that one's hilarious. If he's looking at something positive in the current World of Warcraft world, there's you could just Google Warcraft refugee, because they are coming to 14. In massive, people are writing up articles and recording videos. So you finally had it with Warcraft. Here's how you.
People are not happy.
Here's
with that
how
new
you 14.
expansion.
Yeah, I don't know. Ugh.
Maybe he means what not to do. I don't know.
I don't know. It has problems, is my understanding. Now I don't play Warcraft lately, so I don't know. All right, we have another article. We have Yoshida comments on Baldesion Arsenal feedback alongside today's hotfix. All right. So, regarding Eureka Hydados and the Baldesion Arsenal. Hello, everyone. This is Final Fantasy XIV producer and director Yoshida here. It's been roughly 2 weeks since it was released. I'd like to thank you all for your valuable feedback. Oh, as you may know, Eureka and the Baldesion Arsenal were created with the concept of breaking down Final Fantasy XIV's fundamental gameplay. As a result, following the release of this final installment, we've received more feedback than usual from all over the world. Of this feedback, posted on the forums, I noted there's a big divergence between North American/European and Japanese players. The hotfix schedule for today will introduce a number of adjustments. Based on your feedback in this occasion, I'd like to take the opportunity to respond to some of the concerns raised and also explain our intent behind these changes. Please be warned that the post will run a little long, as it comes from myself as well as the lead battle content designer, Nakagawa.
Some of this is coming back to me that I remembered what's happening here. A lot of this has to do with there's an optional choice when you get to the end. You know this now.
Yeah.
Because you've done this.
So when you finish the initial storyline without going into BA, you have a text box that lets you choose. Honestly, Ruby, I can't remember what I chose. I don't know if I'm angry or not. I don't know what.
Kill them all.
Right?
That's what you chose.
I don't know. No, I think I chose jail them. I don't remember. But anyway, so there was a. Now, mind you, there was a, what do you call that? There was a dialogue choice between two options. They've done this before in the game, and it has never mattered before, right? Never. Mm-hmm. There has been no real difference. So apparently, what you choose actually has a difference in the now it scared me, because it's like, well, what you choose here, you'll get the same rewards, but other things might be different. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means, and I'm not going to Google it because I don't want to spoil myself. So anyway, you have this dialogue choice, which usually doesn't mean anything, but apparently here it does. So you get a different post-clear story based on what you chose there. Is that what I'm reading? I know 2 weeks ago I swore I would go into BA and do it, but I've been chicken shit. So, people are mad that your dialogue choice matters here somehow. And people are also upset that the true ending for Eureka is in here, behind optional content.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they would never do that again. After the Coil stuff, they said they would never do something like that again. And to me, Baldesion Arsenal is an afterthought. It doesn't really bother me too much about, what's happening in Eureka. I'm hoping to see the end of Eureka for myself before Shadowbringers comes along. But to me, this is a moot point, but this is also coming from somebody that completed Coil before 2.0 ended, and as a 1.0 player, I had to see what was going to come out of Coil. So I get that. I understand people being upset with an ending being changed based on quote-unquote additional content.
All right, then we have a word from the lead battle content designer, Nakagawa. Hello, everyone. This is lead blah, blah, blah. Thanks for your feedback. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the stress you've experienced as a result of the entry requirements for BA, and I'd like to thank you all for observing good manners while enjoying Hydados and BA. So there's an explanation here. They've eased the requirements to get an etheric stabilizer. If you don't know what this is, that's the item you need to stabilize one of the portals. You can get the stabilized portals will eventually show up, but if you want to get in there first, you have to have one of these. And it was like a lot of crystals, of all the kinds of crystals, or it was 3 items that I don't remember where they came from. I have 2 of the 3 items. I do not have an etheric stabilizer. So anyway, they've actually adjusted it so you can buy the stabilizer for much cheaper amounts of crystals. It's like, it used to be 500 of each of the crystals, now it's 100. So that should make it easier to get in. So then they increase the rewards for the fate, the support fate. So when people are actually in doing BA, this fate will pop, and you know that you just hope apparently that people go do the fate. And they've increased the rewards for that fate, so that's good.
To make people want to do it. Yeah, I've heard about this, and that like people will cheer these people on to help the people inside, and I think that's great from an altruistic standpoint. But again, the way this game is designed, and really human nature, if you don't, it's
what's in it for me?
What's on the end of the hook? You know, is there a carrot or a stick? You know, what's going on here?
The other problem is the 2 fates, Baldesion Arsenal, Expedition Support, and I Don't Want to Believe. People go in there, do the fate enough to qualify, and then fuck off. They just wander
and the
away.
Tanks are left tanking the mob.
Yeah. So I haven't gone in yet, but yeah, I know I'm in the Discord. I think it's that like tries to arrange runs for this, and they have a rule that only leave the fate if there's enough people still there. Well, how do you know, right? How do you know that everybody else isn't just waiting to leave as soon, you don't want the fates to expire or fail. So anyway, that they know that it's a problem, people abandoning those fates, and they know it's one of the biggest problems, and they're hurrying to implement a solution. I don't know what that means, man. Greater rewards? And I've actually heard this suggested by some people that maybe it should get a super small amount of the armor tokens from those fates, right? Because the reason they're rushing back in is to do BA, and one of the big rewards from BA is the tokens to get the new armor, so... But I don't know. Alright, the problem came as a result of an attempt to address the issue immediately before the patch's release. They observed Avni's knockback was preventing players from receiving entry rights. Oh, okay, so you have to do this fate, and you have to get a buff from the fate, but if you get knocked back right before it goes down, you don't get it. So, yeah. So apparently people were trying to stay there and do the fight, but still didn't get the buff. I don't know. Anyway, so they're considering adjustments. One of them is change to the fate I Don't Want to Believe. Delay ethereal node spawning by a few minutes to following Avni's defeat. Limit the granting of the ethereal prime buff to the battle area. Because basically right now you can go in there, touch it, run off, and still get the buff. Right? So both of those changes I think would be good. If you don't feel like you have to rush to get a node, you're not going to leave the fate early. Or if you're not going to get the buff till the boss is actually dead and you're there killing it, you're not going to leave. So I think both of those would probably be decent changes. Changes to the Fate Baldesion's Arsenal Expedition support. In line with the above, they want to make the following adjustments. Delay the ethereal nodes spawning by a few minutes. Have unstable nodes spawn first, followed by, I think they mean stable nodes, a few minutes later.
I do too.
Limit the granting of the ethereal primed buff to the battle area. I think they could just start by doing this to both of them. Limit the granting of the ethereally primed buff to the battle area. And also take that knockback out. Because if you're actually actively fighting it till it is dead, you should get the buff. So anyway, through these adjustments, we intend to prevent players from abandoning the Fates. However, as these changes must be implemented with care and following extensive testing, it may take a little while before we can proceed with them. As a result, they won't go live in today's hotfix, but we aim to implement them as soon as possible. They ask everyone for patience, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so reflecting on Baldesion Arsenal by Nakagawa. The BA was an extremely ambitious venture. They were driven by the strong desire to deliver an experience and enjoyment that players had never seen before in battle content. At the heart of the enjoyment is the restriction on resurrection, which introduces a heightened sense of tension as you play. That's how it all began. The inspiration was from games used to play feverishly, like Diablo 2 in hardcore mode, Wizardry on the Famicom, to name a couple. I feel that we succeeded in bringing that same enjoyment and sense of tension to our players in the BA. I also believe we succeeded in creating an enjoyable high-difficulty raid dungeon for the largest ever number of participants ever seen in Final Fantasy XIV. Having said that, due to the above-mentioned issues and other things we've learned through your feedback, we've caused our players a great deal of stress. And this is something we deeply regret. We've been made to realize there are many things we can change and improve upon. We're determined to correct all the major issues and to take the experience with us when we develop future content. My responsibility in 14 Team is to plan and develop battle content that will be enjoyed by all of our players. In this post, I've been given the chance to say a few words on Eureka and the Baldesion Arsenal, but I'd like to state that in my desire to create great content applies across the board. In the future, should more issues like this arise, I promise to take your feedback to heart, communicate openly with you all, and quickly take the necessary measures to improve things. Thank you for your continued support. So, then Yoshida finishes with going forward. This is Final Fantasy XIV producer, blah, 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 blah. Eureka's been a challenge for the 14 team, following on from the Diadem. So it's better than the Diadem. But okay, so Final Fantasy XIV base gameplay is very important to us, and in order to have as many players as possible enjoy themselves, we take care not to introduce unnecessary stress on content. On the other hand, we also believe there's a payoff to be had in a sense of accomplishment at the end of the sustained effort and heightened tension. This is a good kind of stress, and it's the driving concept between content such as the Diadem and Eureka, which aim to break outside of the Final Fantasy XIV box. As a result, there are maybe situations like Hadaros where feedback diverges greatly depending on region, and issues arise that are beyond our anticipation. But we learn from this and strive to continue delivering new ways to play. With the 5.x series of patches, we'll be trying something new again. But in the meantime, we'll continue making adjustments not only to Hadaros but to Eureka at large. Thank you for your continued support. Whew, sorry. Oh, baby.
Yeah, it's a long one. At the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people like Baldesion Arsenal. Even with the problems that it has, a lot of people, once they get into it, if you can get over the bullshit about getting into it and people sniping groups and all that other fucking shit, I think people really do like what Baldesion Arsenal has to offer, and that more content like Baldesion Arsenal is a step in the right direction. And these are easy things to fix and go forward with to make good content that can make good changes to the Diadem, or good or where they can add this to other types of content, or make new types of content with this blueprint, and have some successful really party dungeons, these open area dungeons, whatever they call them. I think it's a step in the right direction, and I hope that they can clean this one up and make it right for Shadowbringers and beyond.
I think it does some stuff right. It also does stuff wrong. You can't have an open world dungeon where I don't know. There's problems. I expected more like pop items to be enjoyed by parties and to be able to actually get in there with your party and that kind of thing. I have to do it yet, but it sounds like it's not well designed as both purely open world pug content, nor is it very friendly to pre-mades. So, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I think there's some adjustments that could be made, but I think they're at least trying something.
I'm happy to see them say things like they're trying to think of some things that are outside the box, that kind of thing. Because I that's kind of the staleness we complain about, is everything is the same old. So I don't know. We'll see what they do with it. Do you want to cover this next one, or do you want to skip it for now? We're at 2 hours.
We can. Well, this is only a partial translation of the Dengenki thing, so I think it's worth maybe pending this for when there's a full translation. We have an official translation on it, but it's basically lead designer Takeo Suzuki just doing a simple Q&A about the art. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything in here that's lore breaking.
Nothing meaty. So.
Yeah, and nothing that's going to be like, here's your new race or here's your new job or anything. So we'll save this one since we're running long for another episode when we have a full one. But if you're interested in reading it in advance, this one did appear on Reddit, and it's titled Dengenki Online Interview with Lead Designer Takeo Suzuki. So check that out for yourself, and there is the Dengenki article is linked, but it was a rough translation, I believe, by Dark Slime /Z. Maybe he's just reposting it. So give it a look.
All right, what's on tap? We do have a developer's blog, Flower Power. It's about the new Little Ladies Day event. It basically, honestly, the same exact fucking screenshots as the event page. But, so yeah, go do the event. And they link you to the site. There's not any other meat here. All right. Whew. We have some shots, but we are going to pass that to next week because I don't want to record for another hour.
No, but I do want to say we got a story about the new TOS, and we want to share that on the next episode. But this gives you guys a chance for another week to give us some stories that you have about the TOS. Have you experienced a negative take, possibly a positive take from something that has happened? We just want to know feedback that since the TOS changed, have you felt like this has been a good change, or was it just the opposite for you? So if you have any stories, or if you want to share a story, we would like to share that on the next episode. So please send it to us.
For sure. Yeah, I've heard. I haven't heard any like success stories, but part of that's because that's the way reporting people works, right? They don't get back to you and say, by the way, I banned that asshole. Right? So.
Right.
All right. So happy hour. I'm very happy, Ruby. I'm happy.
Me too.
It's not
I'm
just,
jumping for joy like a little bunny.
Little bunny. Bunny Boys was the topic of the day, right? So we had a contest. Show us your bunny boy. And we have winners. Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God, you guys.
Now, I kind of want to go through quickly the entries that we had, because we had a few, and these were all great. But of course, we picked our top 3 that will all win the Cloud Minion from us. So after we announce these winners, we will be contacting individually the winners by Twitter DM, and we'll be talking to you about how to get you your codes. But we received from Delhi. We received, and these are great. We can go over them while we got them. Delhi sent us a picture of his bunny boy with Beethoven hair, tiny wrists, and a tiny face. with a giant rose upper body and big legs, but skinny arms.
Triple super long eyelashes.
Well, that's what's important. They have to bat those big bunny eyes of theirs. Thin feet. I love it. I love it. Trash Panda sent us one, and this sure looks a lot like Johnny Bravo with Big Chungus in his shirt. And this one is really great with the Vieira ladies just behind him.
This next one made me laugh so hard because, I saw Aquaman and he's hot, and this just makes it ridiculous. The bunny ears and nose, the bunny boy Eorzean needs. Jaraka, you made me laugh.
Oh, yeah, that one is great, Jarka. So thank you for that one. That is awesome. Then we also had our very own Brock Sampson. I think he kicked us 2 of these, but it's got himself dancing in his. What is the name of this outfit? It's the bunny outfit.
Bunny outfit for males, and he's a male row, and he just looks terrifying and amazing at the same time. And
then something that looks out of like H&R Puffin Stuff's Nightmare World or something here, a bunny doll. That's pretty damn creepy.
That's a terrifying stuffed animal. Yeah.
Ani's Arcade sent us 2. The first one was a big bunny boy looking roguelike with fangs and 2 daggers sticking out, and says, I feel like this is almost dumb enough looking for Square Enix to disappoint us with. Hey, don't worry. They'll really disappoint us when they don't even announce Vieira Mail. He says, LOL, but why not a buff barrel-chested small-legged bunny guy like Sephiroth, but with ears? I can feel it. But the second one, okay, here's the resub. What if they're Lala-sized but way fatter? And there's this tiny bunny boy in a pair of whitey-tighties. Looks like he's got his hands on.
Right? Little wyverns with an axe. He's a marauder bunny.
He looks like he needs some sit-ups, too. He looks like me with my shirt off.
I appreciated Snickbads because I think bunnies and I think Harvey, right? If you're too young to know, go watch the movie. But, so what if you think male Vieiras are invisible, 6'3", and named Harvey, do I just submit a blank file? I love Harvey.
That's great. Mog Moxie sent us 2. The first of, here's my male Vieira. Sorry for the low quality, but I'm learning digital art still. Well, we did say turn us on, and this is a male Vieira with the thong. I want to sing the thong song here, and he's turned his back to us. But the second one, this is the real submission.
Oh my God.
This is the true submission. I present you the male Chungus. If you've seen Titanic, you're gonna know exactly the scene that we're talking about. But
I never saw Titanic. But I saw that, and I'm like, paint me like your French girls.
Yeah, draw me like one of your French girls here, and this is what we've got. But it is a big boy with a what is the hairstyle, like a coif or something? I don't know what to call this. And the big bunny ears. But this is a large man.
This is Peter Griffin's belly, right?
This is Peter Griffin as a Vieira, looking sexual for us.
Sexy eyes, by the way.
All right. Philip Kane sent us a machinist version with an eye patch, looking pretty dashing here. So I just leveled machinist to 70. I love it. So this is what my focus was here. I see a lot of big, buff, long-haired Fabio-esque bunny boys, and I think please Square Enix, don't fuck this up, they do add male Vieira, we know we'll see some short-haired boys and some facial hair. So this is my idea. And he does have a nice, thin beard here, and he's got his shirt unbuttoned, and he's looking a little Han Solo-esque, I think, and it's pretty tight.
Looks good. Just watch male Vieira either A, not exist, or B, not be allowed any facial hair.
Oh yeah, some smooth bunnies. We'll see. Modern Marvel sent us, so I'm not much of an artist, but here's a small sketch. I like the idea of the short tunic and the medium to high boots. I also like the idea of interchanging headpiece. And we've got a pretty buff but thin male Vieira.
He looks angry.
With a He does look angry, and his helmet looks a little Mega Man-ish. I'm getting that Mega Man vibe. I do like it.
There's so many to like, though, but we did pick 3.
We did pick 3, so Yelta, read us our winners.
So Mog Moxie, you got the sexiest award, and that is for the the Peter Griffin bunny lounging sexually on a couch. That was the best.
I was turned on.
I'm a little tingly there. The next one was Philip Kane. We love your machinist bunny. That was so good.
Very cool.
I loved it. Jarka, that's the funniest shit ever. By the way, I just love just basically Jason Momoa with bunny ears, all tatted
Listen,
up.
if they made this one into a movie, it'll beat Captain Marvel's views. I'm certain of it. If they put this in the theater on March 8th versus Captain,
Maybe
watching
nipple rings. Maybe add some nipple rings.
Add some nipple rings, and I'm watching Jason Momoa as Male Vieira in theaters March 8th. I'm doing it.
So congratulations to our winners, and thank you everybody who submitted. They were all amazing and fun. I didn't even expect this many entries, so I'm super excited. And we will contact you on Twitter and get you your codes. Yay!
Yeah.
All right, it is past closing time at this point, guys. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You can find links to all of our episodes and blog posts on our website, www.gtffxav.com. While you're there, please leave us a comment. And if you'd like to, you can support us by clicking the donation button. You can find us on Twitter at GTFFXIV. Email us at gtffxiv@gmail.com. Please rate us. Personal plugs, Ruby.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Rubicon Vale, RUBICONVALE.
And you can find me on Twitter at Yelta Sumasu, YELTASUMASU. As always, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.